to be an epic journey. My friend Marcy and I have been planning the ultimate road trip for over 6 months. It was only a few weeks away, and we were so excited. I could not wait. Then, life threw a snag. My grandma went into the hospital. Now, she'd been in the hospital every summer for the last 10 years or so, and we thought, well, it's just another routine trip. So I wasn't worried. But this woman, because she was tough, she never let anything stop her. She was one of those Depression-era products. You know, they were hoarding but giving at the same time. We would spend several weeks every summer with her, and those are the best memories of my life. She was the best Christmas grandma, you know those that give the best Christmas gifts and make the best dinner. She could take a live rabbit or a live chicken from the backyard in the farm and cook it up for dinner. She was the best game player, dice, cards, puzzles, board games. She was the best grandma. So complications from diabetes and a history of heart troubles were simply par for the course. Life threw a snag. After a few days in the hospital, the panic attack wasn't a panic attack. It turned out it was congestive heart failure. So the move that she'd been planning was put on hold. The move was for her health and for Grandpa's health. She was getting frail. She couldn't take care of herself or him anymore. But even though the house was purchased and everything was set, she didn't want to move. She resisted every attempt for people to go through her things and pack them up. She refused to do it herself. She did not want to move. It made sense. She would be closer to the doctors, to the hospitals, to family. She got angrier and angrier and was impossible to handle. Then she had the panic attack. When she was rushed to the hospital and she thought, oh, she's having a heart attack. It turned out it wasn't a heart attack, but it was congestive heart failure. So then the snag hit and her lungs quit working on their own. Grandma was put on a ventilator and it was breathing for her. She was conscious, fully aware, and unable to breathe. It was really difficult. That continued for 2 weeks and more complications occurred and her kidneys quit working. So I'm visiting her every day, and during that last week the nurses would bring in the kidney dilation machine twice a day for an hour each time. I watched her laying there in the bed with her arms fastened down because when they weren't, she tried to pull out the ventilator tube. That would have been a bad idea. It was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, watching her lay there helplessly. Helplessly. I couldn't do anything. I asked the nurses, what can I do? She's laying in the bed pleading with her eyes for me to do something. Anything. She would act like she wanted to write something. She couldn't. She would want to say something, but she couldn't. After 3 weeks of this, Mom told me the hospital said she needed to make a decision. It was time to pull the plug. Pull a plug? How do you make a decision like that? It was really, really hard. And on top of that, my vacation's coming up. I'm talking to my mom. How can I still go on this trip when Grandma's dying? When's the memorial? It'll be Saturday. But I leave Tuesday. For 2 weeks I'd miss it. How can I still go? Mom said, Mina, planning this trip for over 6 months. Grandma will understand. Tell you what, on that Saturday when we're planning the memorial, sit outside your tent cabin and roast a marshmallow to your grandma and say a prayer. She'll know that you're thinking about her, and then you will. I went to go visit my grandma on Saturday. I watched her lying there, and I knew it would be soon. Mom had told me that we were going to give her something to make her sleep, pull out the tube, and she wouldn't feel a thing. It was still hard. I left that day crying my eyes out because I knew that I couldn't go back the next day, that I couldn't be there to watch and be there for her. Sunday was the day. They pulled the tube, and she didn't breathe. So she quietly passed away. Tuesday, Marcy and I left on our trip, true to my word. Saturday, sitting outside the tent cabin in the Grand Teton National Park. We'd had a little trouble getting the fire going, but then miraculously it lit. Thanks, Grandma. And I roasted that marshmallow to my grandma, and I said a prayer. And Marcy and I talked about all the things that I had learned from my grandma. She was the one who taught me how to crochet, how to make rhubarb jam, how to cook bacon grease fried egg for sandwiches, play board games, and billiards. Yes, she's the one who taught me how to play pool, and make the best Braunschweiger pate in the world. So, I kept in touch with my mom during the vacation. And you know that phrase, she'll be late for her own funeral? You heard this? Grandma tried. Mom told me that when they were driving up to Alamo for the memorial with the ashes in the back, a deer tried to play chicken with them and lost. She said when they got up to the house and they were telling the family why they were running late, one of the cousins said, "Well, where is it? We could have had venison for the funeral." This was Grandma's way of being the center of attention, even at her own event. That was 13 years ago next month, and I've never forgotten. I will never forget her or her lessons. So take a moment to thank your loved ones now before they're gone and it's too late, because once they're gone you can't say thanks and I love you. I'll always remember those lessons I learned and relish the moments that I have with my family and my friends, because once those moments are gone you won't have any more moments with them until you see them again in the great beyond. I'm Toastmaster.